This podcast is certified fresh. Freshmediaworks.com.
Welcome to the Montgomery ISD Athletics Show, where each week we share conversations about everything that makes MISD athletics so great. Montgomery ISD, in partnership with families and community, will graduate all students with the knowledge, skills, and leadership necessary to thrive as productive and responsible citizens. Athletics play a vital role in student success, promoting physical and mental well-being while developing essential life skills like teamwork, leadership, and resilience that benefit students far beyond high school. The Montgomery ISD Coaches Show is fueled by EAG Automotive, East Texas's MVP since 1977. With 8 locations and a winning lineup of new and pre-owned rides, they bring the heat with hometown hustle and high-performance service. EAG Automotive, where East Texas drives to win.
With 60,000 fiber route miles across 20 states, we deliver reliable solutions. We prioritize customer service to build better relationships and a better Texas. Consolidated Communications. Let's build a better network.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Montgomery ISD Athletics Show. I'm Chris Daly. Today I'm joined by baseball coach at Montgomery High School, Michael Starkey. How you doing, Coach?
Doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great. I get to talk sports every day. I mean,
That's
what
fair,
a
yeah.
life, right?
Yeah,
I guess the only life would be better is get to coach sports every day.
that's true. Coach sports and talk sports. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So talk to me about the team. You know, we're in the district. Let's first back up to the pre-district. What do you think of the performance so far?
You know, there was a lot of positive things. We had some really good games against Tomball and Atascocita. We played some teams really, really well. Obviously, it's tournament season, so you kind of have your ups and downs and going through. But I was pretty optimistic, at least with what I saw in tournament season and scrimmage season going into district for sure.
Cool. And what about some of the players, the ones who have stood out? Either one, the ones you expected, or maybe some that have been the surprise.
I mean, what's been nice is the expected ones have been as expected.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, our second baseman Hostler, our shortstop Cox, our pitching staff Hernandez, Cluett, and Irwin, our outfielder and Hyatt, like all those kind of returners have kind of doing what returners do, and then our new guys, have been really good. And I mean, just the depth has been really, really impressive at different positions, and guys coming up with a big hit or big pitching, or, we've got some freshmen contributing. And so it's been a very, very positive, experience so far in terms of team contribution.
Nice. And, as teams look at you, you've had a good chunk of the season already. How do they classify you? Are you a hitting team, a fielding team, a pitching team? What's your strength?
I would say, at least on paper, and when you watch us, we're a pitching dominated and defensive dominated team. We returned, 4 guys that threw a lot of innings for us last year. We're pretty athletic on defense. We play pretty solid defense. Hitting is so up and down anyway. I think it's kind of one of those things of when we have the right approach, we hit really well, and when we don't, we struggle a little bit. But I preached, for me, it's preaching to the guys that pitching and defense wins at the end of the day. So that's the 2 things I would want us to hang our hats on.
Nice. And talk to me about district so far. You split games with College Station, and then you took 2 from Consolidated. So
yes,
what's your takeaway thus far?
I mean, right now in a good spot, in terms of being 3-1. But this is year 4 in some variation of this district, and it's not fun. We were sitting in a similar spot last year, and then had to win 6 out of our last, I think, 8 to just to get in and tie at 8-4 with 3 other teams. And so it's like you don't really feel great until that 12th district game has been played.
Right.
Because anybody can beat anybody on a given night. And so it's like you feel good to have more wins than losses right now, but at the same time, there's so much baseball left that
it's still very early. Yeah. And you say anybody can beat anybody. Can anybody beat Brenham?
I mean, obviously, hopefully we can, in a couple of weeks, but it's it's the unique thing about having a bye week, different teams can kind of get off to a hot start and stay hot. And so, I haven't really had a chance to watch them play or anything.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, hopefully we can, but it's just kind of cool to see when you look and you're like, oh, wow, they are literally sitting 6-0 right now, halfway through it. But so, yeah, I mean, good, tip of the cap to them. Coach Whedon does a really good job over there. So, and they've got a lot back. So I'm not surprised at their hot start, but, hopefully we can at least try to,
Nice. And what do we expect in the Lake Creek games, the Motown Showdown? What can we expect there?
Honestly, kind of what it is every year. Hopefully, just good competitive baseball. We try to, I think Coach Schramm and I both just try to play the game to win the game, and we don't. It's not necessarily about the fact that we're 5 minutes apart or our kids all know each other. It really is just like like last year, it was literally make the playoffs or not when we played for both of us, and so. A split, just even a split helps everything out. And so for us, I think we just kind of treat it like a district game because we know that getting wins in this district is the most important. It doesn't really matter who they're against.
Yeah. And last year you say it took 8 wins to get into the postseason?
Yeah, it took 8 wins. There were 4 teams with 8 wins.
Geez, that's crazy. Because there's still 8 games left.
Yeah.
So for your schedule at least. And that could be 8 wins by other teams. So and I guess the other ones we haven't talked about is Rudder and Huntsville because they're certainly in the fight.
They are. We've got Rudder this week. He does a good job. Everybody from their team is back from last year. I think he literally lost 1 senior. Their place is a tough place to play, and they're sitting 2-2 too. And so they've got just as much of a chance as anybody else. I don't, Huntsville, I think they're 0-4. But, once again, still with 8 games to play, you figure it out. You find a guy that can throw strike, whatever the case may be. And next thing you know, you're back in the fight. And so there's just so much baseball left. I don't really know that, you can sit there and look at that anything's set in stone, obviously, except that realistically, Brenham controls their own destiny just because of the fact that they're halfway through and they haven't had their bye yet. I think the rest of us are still, all kind of in a shuffle and got to separate ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess finally, Coach, talk to me about the players, where you think they are in terms of peaking, because you want them to peak. You want them to make the postseason, but peak in the postseason.
I think at least what I've seen so far, I think, we're trending in the right direction of that. I mean, as well as I do, sometimes baseball is just about a little luck, and then that can kind of turn your season around or get you to head towards, peaking at the right time. But, we've seen good things offensively, at least so far it's trending in the right direction. Pitching and defense has been consistent for us. And, it's just, hopefully we can continue to see the ball like we've seen it and continue to get better as an offense and put more pressure on people as we go. But, in this district, you take a 1-0 win as you do an 11-1 win. And so, it really is about getting the wins to get in, number one, and then, seeing where you are as a team on that Monday after the dust settles, because last year we were playing a tiebreaker game still, for seeding after an 8-4 finish. And so, I just think it's about, for at least for this district, it's about the long haul of being consistent, not necessarily about peaking, because consistency is what gets you in the playoffs.
Got it.
At least in this district.
Yeah. And also take a second to give a shout out to some of your coaching staff and the impact they've had.
No, I am blessed to have a really awesome coaching staff. I mean, they've basically all been head coaches. I mean, just combined, it's something like 42 years of head coaching experience. Wow. And, my first assistant, Coach Pilcher, and he coaches third base for me and does a great job. And, my other pitching guy, Coach Crawford, he was a head coach before at the 6A level, and he does a great job helping with pitcher development and kind of gamesmanship. And Coach Lovelace is new with us. He's been at Montgomery, but he's new with us this year. But he's coached at Caney Creek and some other places and coaches first base. And just I'm really, really blessed to have a really, really experienced baseball staff that can kind of let me, when I have to, do head coach things. And it doesn't change anything, So they do a really, really awesome job. And we wouldn't be where we were if it wasn't without them, being as consistent as me and believing in what we're doing like I do. So it's 100% their contribution just as much as it is mine.
I love that. And also shout out to the community of Montgomery as well as the district.
Yeah, no, the community has been amazing, at least for me. This is year 5 for me, and I've just been blown away by the support from the community. And then especially, since starting a booster club and seeing the community outreach and just the support for us as a program, far and wide, from all walks of life, all occupations, just the families, the kids, the businesses that want to see us be successful, that'll talk to you, at Kroger, or, just come up to the field randomly and just want to visit or whatever. Like, I couldn't be more appreciative of the support that they have for this program and the belief they have in this program. And the same for Montgomery ISD, like Montgomery as a whole loves their sports. And, the support that I've had since I've been here with, the superintendents and the athletic directors and the board members. And, it feels like a family. You feel like you could call them up on a Friday night and be like, hey, what'd you see? Help me get better. And they'd tell you non-judgmentally just because they genuinely care about your success. And, and so I couldn't be more appreciative that the support system that, not just me, but specifically to this conversation, the support system that I have from administration, from the community, like it makes it easier, to be able to do your job the right way when you have support from all angles.
Definitely. I love it. Coach Starkey, gosh, I want to thank you so much. Good luck the rest of this season. Hopefully we'll be talking come postseason and, go Bears, right?
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. At the Woodlands Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, they want kids to thrive, not just in school, but in sports and in life. Pressures like anxiety, ADHD, or even the stress of competition and injuries can hold them back. That's why their team offers specialized care, including sports psychology, to help kids manage performance pressure, bounce back from setbacks, and build confidence on and off the field. They provide complimentary consultations, so call today. Call 281-528-4226 or visit addwoodlands.com because every student deserves the chance to thrive.